Welcome to America's Heroes Group.
Welcome back to America's Heroes Group. We are actually going into a talk right now, and what I want to make sure that you understand is that this program is dedicated to an incredible veteran who lost his life needlessly recently, and what we're doing is dedicating this show to Keith Cooper, a two-time tours in Vietnam veteran and a Marine who lost his life recently in a carjacking attempt. But I had a chance to see him a few times in my life, and I was blessed to talk to him and share a couple of laughs as we were talking about the military service. But I am so proud that we have this ability to represent him. This is actually the first time I went to his service today, and his daughter had a wonderful service, and his son-in-law for him, and that was at a Lutheran church on 55th and Woodlawn, and I was just so happy to be there. That was my first service of that type after coming back from Iraq. I had gone to funerals every 2 to 3 days for my tours when I was there for 2 tours, and just could not take any more when I got back. But this person I had to honor because of the kind of person he is. And today is Saturday, July 24th, 2021. Our host is Cliff Kelly, the governor of Talk Radio, and I am his co-host, Colonel Dr. Damon Arnold. Our executive producer is Glenda Smith, and our digital media producer is Ivan Ortega of Scouts Honor Productions. And today we are blessed to have Keith Cooper's daughter, Kienicka, Carlton. She is the daughter of our brother in arms, Keith Cooper. And you know that all of us are family, so I mentioned to her during one of his vigils that anything she needs from any of us as veterans, we're there for her and her family because he was our blood. So today we're honoring Vietnam veteran Keith Cooper, and welcome, Kienicka.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, tell us about your father, because I was just impressed with him. From the kind of person he was. And, I think I told you that story about, one time I saw him in his car, and the first time I met him, I looked at his car, and I said, I love those license plates. And he said, yeah. And I said, except for one thing's wrong. And he said, what's that? I said, well, they're military license plates, but it should say Army, not not Marines. And he just laughed. And he said, okay. He said, I got to upgrade. So we had a little joke we would pass back and forth when I saw him outside. But really a wonderful person, a warm person. You could tell his heart immediately. So tell us a little bit about him and what he was like to you.
Oh, yeah. So first, thank you for having me on the show today, and thank you for dedicating the show to my father. Yeah. As you can, I'm sure you can already tell, I'm a daddy's girl. He meant the absolute world to me. He was such a great dad. He was the one that taught me the meaning of community, and not just community, but supporting the Black community. He was my first introduction to buying Black and supporting Black-owned businesses, and he always instilled in me that we are what we need to make the changes within within our community. And he was so important in just my life's journey and how I help in my communities and with Black-owned businesses, things like that. But aside from that, he just loved being a dad, loved being a granddad. He was so active in our lives. Anything that we were doing, he was doing, and his community service was really big. You know, he loved to volunteer at the Hyde Park Jazz Festival, and he loved to, you know, do things at his church, Augustana. He really had a heart for his church, and he used to once a month do the community breakfast at his church, and they would, you know, feed the community, feed those in need. And he just, you know, he just loved to be of help whenever he could. And, you know, he always said, well, whatever I can do, I'll do it. You know, he recently was helping me. He volunteered at a Juneteenth festival that I did for Homewood Flossmoor. And he said, hey, if I could just sit down and pass out something or whatever, I'll do it. And that's what he did. You know, he was always just there to just help out in some way. And then, you know, aside from that, you know, he was a huge jazz lover. He was a bowler. He bowled on many leagues out at Burr Oak Bowl, and he was very active with his bowling teams there. And, you know, and then when he wasn't doing that stuff, he was just hanging around with us, you know, hanging around with his grandkids, whether they were going to Culver's to get burgers or, you know, or he would take them bowling. You know, he loved to take them, you know, try to teach them the game of bowling. They didn't really pick up on it as well as he did. But, you know, they tried, you know, with Grandpa. But, yeah, that was him.
Yeah, because that was Burr Oak Bowl on Alston, right? That was
Yes. Yep.
But then, you know, one of the things you mentioned before, he was an Englewood 5K marathoner, too, when I was at the vigil.
Yep, he loves to do the 5Ks with me. You know, even he will walk them all. He never did any running. But his favorite one was the Englewood 5K. And then if any ones that I was doing, if I told him I'm doing a 5K, he's like, okay, I'm doing it, too. And he'll get out there and he'll walk it, and you know, and he might be the last man coming in, but he always finished. He never, you know, gave up on any of them. So, and I don't know if you got a chance to kind of walk the room today and saw some of his medals and his race medals, things like that. Yes. But yeah, he loved to do things like that.
Yeah, I would love for you to send some of those things, those photos to us. And I'll talk to you about
absolutely.
That offline, but we could put that on our website. Because, you know, our radio station, actually, we're going through WVON, but right now you're also going through iHeartRadio. You're also going through Facebook Live, and you're going through Instagram. So we're actually all over the world. We get calls from Australia, England, all of our stations around the world and throughout the country. So this is actually being broadcasted to all of them at the same time now. And I think it's important for the world to know how important, because if he was really tied in, and I've learned that more and more today at the service, how tied he in was into our culture and being African American and being proud of that, and you know, being proud of our African roots. So, you know, with that, I just want the world to know that the image that sometimes they see of our you know, black men and black women is different from what really is happening.
Yes. Yeah, it is. And that's a great thing that you all are doing, because, you know, and even just for Chicago, too, because, you know, Chicago gets such a bad rap with different things. But just like I said out at the vigil, you know, what you see at the vigil, what you saw today at my dad's memorial, that is Chicago. The community that we have, the love that we have for each other, you know, how we come together and things like in hard times like that. That is the black community. That's who we are, and that's what you know, being a part of the black community is. You know, we're there for each other, whether we know you personally or not. There are so many people that came up to me today that I never met, but that just knew my father or met him maybe once in their life. I've received so many phone calls and messages from people that, like, you know, I've never met either of you all, but just to hear your story has, you know, I want to help. I want to, you know, I want to support. And it's really just been beautiful. Out of something so sad came this amazing display of love and community. And it's just been amazing.
Yeah, he touched so many people, you know, in his life and what he was doing. And, you know, and what a wonderful way to remember his incredible life and service to this nation. You know, he is a hero. And, you know, he is what this nation fights for. And, you know, many times, you know, we have, you know, issues with, you know, as being people of color, you know, with the issues surrounding the how we are perceived, but then also, what we're actually adding back into the community. And so what he's doing is something that is fantastic. His whole life story is embodied with supporting our community, making them stronger, and I just love it. I just absolutely love it. And one of the things too, Kienicka, is that he also loved his grandchildren, and that is something that really touched my heart. I was like, where was I when I was hoping I'd be one of his grandchildren because he was taking them to Culver's and everything else, and I was like, oh, I missed out on some things. So, so it sounds like a beautiful person. So, what kind of jazz did he like? Because you said that he loved jazz.
Oh gosh, his love for jazz was so vast. Like, he loves so many different types and artists. And I know recently we were going through some of his record collection. My husband, he's the music lover of the family. And, my husband was even like surprised to see some of the stuff. Like, it was like everything from like Latin jazz to, old Afro Latin to like Nat King Cole to all kind of stuff. All Rolling Stones, everybody. So he had it all, and he loved it all. And I remember growing up, he used to listen to, I don't know if you remember WNUA 95.5.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was like his favorite radio station. I remember listening to that. And of course, as a kid, I'm like, Dad, this music is so boring, when, growing up. But now I'm the one looking for the jazz now. We don't have that radio station anymore, but, I will find the same things, he was listening to like on Spotify or something like that. So, streaming it, that type of thing. But, yeah, like he used to, I always remember him, that was his favorite. He kept it on that station. He never wanted to move the dial off of that station. Yeah. And through that's how I really got my introduction to jazz and learning about different artists. And then, of course, with his vast record collection and things of that sort. So, yeah. Everything. Like, it's hard to say, like, what was his, like, favorite genre of jazz, because it literally went from all over the place.
Yeah, because the Marines gave him a special service today with the presentation of the flag at Augustana Lutheran Church, 5500 South Woodlawn. And one of the things that I noticed when I was in the room is how packed it was. There was no seating room, and I mean, you had a lot of chairs in there, a lot of tables, and people came out to support you. How does that make you feel about the community support?
That just made us feel so loved as a family, just to know that we had all these people there to be there for us however we need, and just about every person that has reached out personally, have called or sent a message, a text or email just to say, how can we help? How can we be here to help you all through this hard time? What can we do? And have asked several times. So to see these, to see people actually there and just to show up, it was very touching. It was just very moving. Because at one point, like you said, I know when we first started, it felt like it was like a few seats here and there, but then when I turned and looked around, I was like, oh my gosh, like you said, the room, it was standing room only. And that was just amazing to see that, he just touched all of these lives or all these individuals were touched by his story. And it just did my heart very well. It was very comforting to have that support today.
Oh, fantastic. And then you had some really special people there. There was one sister that was like, sort of giving a special eulogy or a celebration of his life. And, she was just phenomenal.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, that was a friend of mine. She's such a beautiful person, and she's, who I just called on during this time to just kind of help me orchestrate things as far as like the services and things of that sort. And she spoke so well to just the love that was in the room, and that's what I really wanted. Yes. My dad wasn't the read off a piece of paper about my life type of person. Right. but she really represented what he meant to me and what he meant to those who knew him very well.
Yeah, and the talking drums, I was like floored. I was like,
oh, yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, my dad, he enjoyed the drums. He never really learned how to play them really well, but he never really got to master that. But he did enjoy the drums. Like, he has his own drums. Like, there were two of his drums on at the front of the room. I don't know if you got a chance to see, but, yeah, he always loved the drums.
Yeah, and you had a lot of veterans there, as well, support. So you had, the Post, the VFW Post and American Legion there as well. And those were some really, really touching things, that was said. And I loved when they went the affirmations around the room, and people, had to give an affirmation of one word, and it was love and compassion and, strength and courage. Incredible ceremony. And I'm absolutely sure he was proud looking down on you, because he is definitely in heaven. I can't see any other place for him right now.
Yes.
So what do you people want people to know about what you're going through? Is there anything that you want people to know about this? Because it's a very tragic, untimely kind of thing to have happened. Because what a wonderful man, and what a tragic thing to have happened. But I'm praying that we have complete justice in this situation, as most of the veterans are. I've spoke to a few of them there, and they feel the same way. But how do you? What do you tell people to persevere? Because we're all going through COVID. We've lost over 610,000 people in the country. From people dying from COVID, and people have been going through a lot of tragedies without being able to, have funerals and those sorts of things for people. What kind of things could you say to them about how you perceive this to be done? Because this was such a positive experience. I wasn't expecting that. It was one of the most positive things I've gone through in a long time. And as I mentioned before, I hadn't gone to veterans funerals. I was going through funerals every 2 to 3 days when I was in the combat zone, and I just couldn't take it anymore. When I got back, I just couldn't go, and so this was my first opportunity going back. But it was something that gave me courage and hope about the future. So, what is your view on this whole experience? What do you think people need to know?
Just celebrate life in whatever way you can, because we don't know, when our time, or the time of those you love. We just don't, you don't know. Like that day I was expecting to see my dad, because we had, some things to do. We had an appointment. We had some errands to run. But I don't have any regrets, because I spent a lot of time with my dad, in quality time, and time just sitting talking with him, time doing things with him, with my daughters, and with my husband. We spent really beautiful moments together. So although I hate how this happened, me and my family are still very broken and hurt, and and sometimes angry about just knowing that this was the end of the story. But at the same time, we don't regret anything, because we've had him for, for me, I've had him for 38 beautiful years. And I've, even in the times that weren't so great, I'm still grateful for the time that I had him for, and I had with him. So I would, I guess I would say to others, just enjoy and love on those, in your life, your family, your friends. Enjoy those beautiful moments. Be in the moment. I know we're in the, technology age, social media age, where we want to always record and post, and, but it's like everything doesn't need an actual picture. Everything doesn't need a video. Yeah. Sometimes it just needs you just to be in the moment and to enjoy that moment.
Oh, I love that. I love that message. I love it. And one of the things that I had in common with him also, other than the military, is that he was a Star Trek and science fiction fan, and that goes to my heart.
Yes. Star Trek was one of his favorite shows. Science fiction, almost any science fiction TV show, movie, that was his thing. He loved horror movies, scary movies. That's how I got into like horror movies. I love, we used to watch all of the, Friday the 13th and Jason movies and all those different things together when growing up. So, yep, that was him. He was he was my roller coaster buddy when I was younger. We used to do Great America and Disney World and those type of places with different rides. He's actually kind of where I get my love for travel and adventure from, because it always seems like we were on a travel adventure when I was growing up with him. So we actually have plans to go to Disney World later this year together, but I still have my beautiful memories with him from childhood. So.
Oh yes. Because my wife Sharon, the first date we went on, I took her to a science fiction movie, Altered States, and I was getting into the movie, and I turned around, looked at her, and she was staring at me. She's like, "What kind of weird person is she?" She said, "You are so lucky we got married."
Oh my goodness!
she said that was a weird movie.
Oh wow!
She's not so much of a science fiction person, but I just really get into it. This is fantastic that you have all those memories, and that he showed you his warmth and love. And many times people don't do that in families, and you were saying that turn off the devices and spend time in the moment with your family members. I think that is such an important message, because I actually, with the COVID thing, I used to hate the word social isolation. It's physical distancing, not social distancing, right?
Yeah.
Social distancing implies isolation or social abandonment or social disconnection. It should really be that we are family, we're getting together, and we love one another, and we protect each other. So I am so happy you brought that up, and you really brought home that point to people, that enjoy and love your people who are with you now. And the veterans who are out there, they're all around the world right now. We, are speaking to them now. Make sure that you hug your veterans at home and love them and be part of their lives. And we have too many homeless veterans here on the streets right now of the nation, which is a travesty. It's really a terrible thing to be happening. But we're getting close to time. But I'm going to let you have a few extra minutes, and I want you to tell us, what is the hope for the future? Because he's going to be living on through you, through your children, through your grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I mean, this is intergenerational, what he has been able to influence. So what is the hope for you and the family in the future?
Our hope is just to continue his legacy of community and service, and just to continue to, instill in my daughters the values that he instilled in me, when it comes to, supporting our communities and being present and being, and just being a help when you can. One thing, and he actually already started that with them. He used to take both of my daughters with him on Saturdays when he would do the community breakfast at his church. They would do it with them. And I love that he, started that tradition with them to serve others, to serve the community together. And that's something that, that they will continue to carry with them and continue to do in some form of fashion. It may not be the same exact thing, but, something of service. And so that's the goal, is to continue that legacy.
Fantastic. But we're running out of time. And Kienicka, Carlton, I met you and your husband at the vigil. It was an incredible ceremony. And also, you are welcome on this show anytime in the future that you would like to speak, you and your family. And also, I am, a veteran, so this is blood. And we are very, very close because of the things that we experience together as veterans. And so anything that you need, you can reach out, and we veterans are out there for you. And so,
thank you.
Yes, and you had quite a few Vietnam veterans there who were shedding tears in the side because they know, and it's personal. It's personal when someone does something to one of us. And so we're there to support you in any way we can. And, as things go forward, we hope that justice is done completely. And we will be on that side of the law with you. So
thank you so much.
Yes. And just that your father was a wonderful person. I loved the ceremony today. It spoke to who he was and what he is about. And I know he's up there playing a jazz instrument in heaven. He is. And he may be bowling. So if you had that lightning and thunder, it may not be
that's
just
him bowling.
That's him bowling up there.
Yes, it is. Yes.
So we love you all. We love you all. You are family to us. And this again is dedicated to the life of Keith Cooper, who is an extraordinary veteran who served this nation 2 tours of duty overseas and should be honored for what his life has represented. He became back, and he was a perfect citizen. He raised a family, and he loved his family, and he loved his grandchildren. So that is no better legacy on earth is there than that. And he loved his God. So we want you to go, online. You can go to www.America's Heroes Group. So that's americashg.org. And you can see and you can download programs and that kind of thing. And I'll get back out to you, Kienicka, about giving you a copy of the program. But this is a tribute to a fallen veteran who is part of my heart and part of my family. And so any blood loss from a veteran is a blood loss from me. So just love you, Kienicka. Stay strong, and we will be there for you.